Lucy. Thank you for joining me. How are you?
I'm well, thank you. Great to be joining you.
Yeah, thank you. Thank you for your time. So just to get the audience up to date, the first virtual social day festival was held in the early September. And when Eventicious provided a mobile app and the web platform for the festival, therefore we meet to talk about how did you come up with the virtual event. I think it was your first virtual event, and how to build a community around events. So first of all, could you please tell a little bit more about the event and the organizing team?
Yeah, of course. So Social Day has been going now for about 5 years, and we started off as a offline conference, like in person, about 5 years ago. And we always have we started off with around 200 people, and then over the last couple of years, we've had about 800 people coming along to our events over the 3 days.
Yeah.
And this year, obviously, because of the pandemic and everything, we had lots of ticket sales and sponsors and that kind of thing already. And we were thinking, oh no, what are we going to do? Because we can't keep postponing the event because we don't know what's going to happen. And then we spoke to the guys at Eventicious and you, Polina, about doing a virtual event. And we saw lots and lots of virtual platforms out there and that kind of thing. And, some were okay, but there was nothing really good enough for us to say, to our speakers who are really high profile, and also to our attendees, please come and come to this event, trust us to come to it online, even though you're probably zoomed out at the moment because everything's online. And when we spoke to you guys about using your platform, it seemed like the perfect fit for us, so that we could do it online basically. And it was actually amazing, really, to be honest, because I didn't know what I was quite expecting, but it was so professional, the way it ran from start to end, the way that it ran like a live event and you felt like you was there in person, and then with the app as well, so that people could talk to each other and interact with each other over the 3 days, just was the icing on the cake.
Yeah, thank you for your feedback. I can tell you the same, that your organizing team was really professional, and that's why I have more questions about the audience, because the audience was very vibrant, and this is very interesting topic. And do you think that to organize virtual event, it was easier or more difficult than the regular one?
I would say, because we hadn't done it on that scale before, it was harder. I think there's more involved with a virtual event than there is with a normal in-person event. And the reason for that is because there's so much more to think about logistically, with people turning up, the technology, making sure people know what they have to do on the day and doing practice runs and that kind of thing. Whereas in an on-person event, people just turn up at the event and the speakers just get on the stage at their time, and that's all that really needs to happen. Whereas online, there can be technical issues, internet issues, and it's not just the speakers, it's the attendees as well, because sometimes they don't know. Even you can give them all the information in the world that they need, but sometimes they can't work out how to do something or how to use the technology. So then you're also there trying to get people into the event as you go, and it's a lot harder thinking about it to do an online event than it is to do an offline event, but it's so worth it.
I'm getting back to these days, and I remember how it was a crazy time, but the event was beautiful, hopefully. And thank you for this challenge, that you really decided to run this event, even with all the circumstances. And what was the purpose of the event?
The purpose. Okay, so our event is a social media marketing festival. So it's an event that brings together brands and creators, and also social media marketers and that kind of thing, who want to learn from their peers and from the social networks what is the latest stuff happening in social media. But it's not just for hearing about what's going on. Part of our event is the festivities, the fun, the drinks and the networking and that kind of thing as well. So it was quite hard to bring that into an online version. But yeah, so it's just for people who work in marketing and social media marketing and that kind of thing, basically, and people who are interested in learning more about social media as well.
Yeah, you mentioned that the purpose was to engage the community, to provide the communication and so on. That I know that for the virtual events, it's very challenging because since the beginning of the lockdown, everyone is starting launching the webinars, the Zoom
Yeah.
conferences, and so on. But still, I think we miss some they really engaged to be engaged with the audience who are just behind their screens at home or in their offices.
Yeah.
And have you solved this task with the application?
So one of the ways that we brought the community in to organise them was, yes, of course, the app made such a difference because people were able to talk to each other throughout. They were able to, talk on the main kind of like board in the app and that kind of thing. And we could send push notifications and that kind of thing. And we were able to also gamify it as well. So the more people engaged, the more points they'd get in the app, and then they could win prizes. Of course, one of the other things that we did as well was we sent out these amazing packs before the event, so
Yeah,
they could have the
absolutely.
t-shirt and the lanyard and that kind of thing.
Slippers, t-shirt, yeah.
Yeah, and what happened was then people were sharing it on social media, and people were getting fear of missing out, so they wanted to come to the event, so here, one of these packs and that kind of thing as well. So that worked really nicely, and people were even sharing their lunch inside the app and what they were having and that kind of thing, because it was live and we were saying, tell us what you're having for lunch today on the screen. They were then sharing it all in the app, and people were talking to each other. So I think you're never going to replace the in-person sociable aspect of an in-person event. However, this was a really good way to connect people due to the circumstances. And I think what I'd love to do next year is hopefully we can have in-person events again, to have
Absolutely.
the app, have it like a hybrid event, because I think you're missing a trick if you're just doing it on offline now next year or the year after. I
Yeah, of
think we
course.
should be having that virtual aspect of it as well in place, because there's more people across the world that won't be able to come to it, and it just opens up the whole world
Yeah,
to people,
absolutely.
in terms of who can attend, and people can still talk to each other through the app and see what's coming up and see the menu of events and festivities throughout the day and that kind of thing. So yeah, I don't know what we would have done if we didn't have Eventicious like helping us out with the app and with the platform and that kind of thing. Just absolutely spot on.
Yeah, thank you, Lucy. So just to announce the analytics, the post-event analytics, there was around 900 participants in the app registered, and over 3,000 messages in the private chat, and even more in the general chat. So this this has become a real virtual networking movement. So what is the secret for such vibrant community?
Well,
On the event.
we already have been building quite a good community over the years anyway. But I think bringing people what wanted to connect with each other anyway, because we're not connecting. And I think that helped as well. And obviously the app helped, but I guess the secret is just helping to engage people, asking them questions, asking them to share what they're doing and what they're thinking and that kind of thing, and gamifying it a little bit as well, and just keep on giving people openings and opportunities to interact with each other. I think that makes a difference, because if you just leave people to it, sometimes they find it a little bit harder. Whereas if you're really kind of keep gently nudging people into talking to each other, and then all of a sudden what happens is people just start talking to each other, and it all kind of kicks off, doesn't it?
You already started to describe your audience, the participants of the event. Do you have something to add to tell us more about the participants, or their marketing providers, or some freelancers, or who were there?
So we had social media marketers, and also marketers that works in brands and agencies. So from very big brands and also very big agencies, as well as the small agencies. There's a whole ecosystem of people who work in the social media industry. But of course, social media people are very sociable as well,
Yeah.
a lot of the time. So it's much easier for them to be sociable and talk to each other and that kind of thing, because it's their job at the end of the day. So
Regarding the changes in the event industry in general, we see the changes, we see the movement that events became more extended in time. Or it turned to be like marathons with repeating sessions or round tables, but repeating every week and so on. So we started to call it like Event Unity. This was in the presentation of our CEO during your event. And so I think we see much more options to communicate with the participants between these sessions or between these meetings. To bring some other activities and not only the presentations or workshops, maybe to publication, some engagement information and so on. So it's really became like extended cooperation with the participants, and we can call it community. So I know that you are planning to launch the community, the club. Can we call it the club?
Yeah, that's fine. Yeah. The club's fine.
Yeah, absolutely. And how you came up with this idea? Was it naturally, or how did you find this way to just to keep the audience in the application after the event?
Yeah, of course, because they're there already. We just thought it's worthwhile putting together a content plan so that we can provide them with updates and regular content, and turn the people who are already into the community into this hub or this club where we're able to share regular content with them, that kind of thing, and then people can pay to be inside it and get money off for tickets next year. So that's something we're just working on at the moment, and we're just working out how to do it properly and that kind of thing. But the community is definitely still there. We still see people across social media and still talking now and again inside the app. But it's our job to get our community, to stimulate our community. At the end of the day, it's our job to make sure that people are getting the content they need, and then being like I said, nudged gently into talking to each other and that kind of thing.
Yeah, absolutely. So as the experts in the social media marketing, I'm sure you know all the channels and platforms where their communities lives, groups in social medias and so on. What do you find like a difference with keeping your standalone designed for your app, like cozy space, isolated from other messages in social medias? So what is the difference a group for the community on social media and in the app?
Yeah, I think the difference is when you have a community and it's inside an app or a closed space, people feel like they can discuss issues a little bit more openly, and they can talk to each other a bit more openly. Whereas on the external social media, they're more likely to share stuff for their followers. So on Twitter, for example, somebody who's attending the event will be sharing like stats and tips and that kind of thing from the event. Whereas inside the app, they're getting to know each other and they're becoming community. Although people do connect on social media and it becomes a community there as well through using the hashtag. It's just slightly different because like in this closed space, people feel safe.
Yeah, absolutely, it's right. And during the event, you used also the gamification and also to provide some incentives from sponsors, from sponsors and partners. And what do you think about the benefits for partners? If you will have partners in this club, what the benefits will be with a standalone application?
Well, it's fantastic because there's areas for partners to be able to kind of have almost like a virtual store where all of their content information is there. People can get in contact with them. But the other thing is, it means that we're able to run regular sessions that are shared within the app, regular updates or regular videos and stuff, and then notify all of the community members via either email or via the push notification within the app that this is happening. So it's a great opportunity for sponsors to come on board because there's a fantastic community there that we know are quite an active community externally as well.
Yeah, absolutely. So this is also gives me idea that if you don't have your designed platform to communicate with your community, so it means that just to bring the audience to the event or to other activities, you have to mail them, you have to call, you have to send
Yeah,
messages sometimes to
yeah,
repeat it and so on. And in the application, you can do it directly. They will receive push notification, and probably if this is cozy and nice space
yeah.
where they can receive useful information. So it means that they will be really open to check these messages. Yeah,
Yeah,
right.
exactly. And I think it push notifications on your phone are kind of more easier. They're harder to ignore, aren't they, than an email or
Yeah, absolutely. According to the stats, I think that the rates are 80% rates for the opening of the push notification than emails. So it's for the emails, I don't know, it's 5 or 10 persons. So
wow. Wow.
that looks like much better. I'm checking the last question. Could you please tell me also about how does the community plan to help their members, and what are the benefits for the members?
So yeah, that's a really, really good question. Something we've been working on a lot. So our community, our, for us, we aim to help our members by creating regular, helpful content that helps them to be better at their job, help them to have the edge, and also helps them to obviously communicate with each other effectively with their peers and learn from each other as well. And so by being part of the Social Day Club, for example, it means they're going to get regular updated information and discounted tickets to the in-person live event next year as well. So yeah, I think it's pretty good.
Yeah. Okay. Great. Would you like to have more in the functionality? We already received your feedbacks, a lot of feedbacks from Sam as well to provide some more features for the communication mentions and so on. Do you think there can be something general what you would like to improve?
So the ability to tag each other in
Yeah.
like the chats and that kind of thing, you know, like if as though it's a Twitter thread where you can talk to each other properly and that kind of thing and stuff. And I think I think that's it really. There's so much in there. It's really, really good. And actually, we didn't fully utilize the complete power of the application as well, which is something I realized. So yeah, I think it's just absolutely fantastic. I was blown away.
Thank you. Thank you for your feedback. And we also received very good feedback for the participants. They posted in their social media in the application, and also they sent us private messages. And what about the partners and sponsors? What do they think about the continuation for the virtual events? Was it successful for them, or what they would like to see more, maybe more analytics or some more tools to engage the audience?
Yeah, I think for it was harder to get people to go and give their information over or speak to sponsors, but it's if you thought of it as a real life event, it's a reflection of how it works at a real life event, because people don't flock to the stands at lunchtime. They get food, they don't go to get sold to. Does that make sense? So yeah, so it's almost coming up with more creative ways for sponsors to be able to you know, engage with the audience themselves, and whether that's doing quizzes that are promoted beforehand and things like that, and just having more time to think about how they're going to do it. I think that's important, but I don't think it's a problem with the app. I think it's an issue with sponsors understanding how to engage a virtual audience differently to offline.
Yeah, absolutely. I think that the virtual events are absolutely new for all of us, and also we are trying to think for how to monetize the events and what tools to give to sponsors and to partners. And we're also launching a new functionality for the quests. I think it can be good also for sponsors that participants can to get some questions steps by steps, and then to receive some prizes. This could be good. We will announce it further, I think. The last question, what are your next plans?
Well, obviously we have these amazing Digital Women events, which are attracting a lot of people from all over the world now. We have a fantastic community, and we want to create, because we have a lot of members already paying to be members of this Digital Women community. So we want to create an app for digital women, and possibly an event as well for them that's bigger and global too.
Thank you so much. I really hope that next year we will be able to meet personally and in life. And that you mentioned that it's really the idea is good that even when there will be like regular events, anyway, it would be good to bring some virtual also interaction to open the audience.
Yeah,
and
definitely.
Really hope to see you in real time. Thank you, Lucy.
Yeah, thank you.